Welcome to the UniSA online course, Construction Cost Planning. This course forms part of the Bachelor of Construction Management and is a second-year course. It is important in your future career in construction management because managing the costs of projects within the planning process is essential to ensure timely completion, good quality and client satisfaction. Even if you do not specialize in cost planning and quantity surveying, it is essential to be familiar with the key principles of cost planning within project management. Have you ever pondered, say for a building you work in or frequent, what would it cost to build this? Or how would you go about establishing what it would cost to build in the current construction market? We sometimes hear about expensive buildings in the media, often when public money has been used to procure public facilities and when major projects are delayed and or redesigned to overcome problems encountered in their design and construction. For example, in recent times, concerns around the final cost of constructing the new Royal Adelaide Hospital project in Adelaide from an initial budget that was significantly lower than the cost of completion. It's a good example of this. If we have a friend or relative building or renovating, one of the first questions that springs to mind is, what has it cost you? We know the construction market operates as a market where construction companies compete on price when tendering for work, and whilst all buildings must meet minimum design code and performance requirements, no two buildings are exactly the same. Over the next 10 weeks, you will learn about the construction cost planning role, the importance of early and accurate cost advice to the client, and what is involved in working with the project design team to help the client meet their building requirements within a realistic and balanced budget. You will learn the skills of the cost planner and develop a greater appreciation of construction costs and how design influences cost. You'll be introduced to a number of techniques used by construction cost consultants and quantity surveyors using early stage design information and then more refinement in cost prediction, particularly through the use of software, which is now essential to this role in building projects. It is very important that you revise your learning on the leading industry CostX program, as this will be the software you use to produce your own cost plan for your major assessment, which is based on a cost plan for a residential building. You may remember using this program in Quantity Surveying Practice 1, but if for some reason you didn't complete that course, you may need to catch up, as there will be some assumed knowledge about the basic functions of the program. In this course, you will learn how to compare the cost of various classes of buildings, what makes a building more or less expensive judged on common benchmarks such as overall costs per metre squared of floor area, the extent of below the line or soft project costs such as fees and allowances for such things as additional equipment in the building or allowances for the time it takes to tender and construct and fit out the building. So this is all a very complex system, and although you aren't expected to master it all by the end of this course, in order to pass you will need to become familiar with its main features and be able to complete some of the key processes. Now for some brief historical context to the cost planning role in construction. The techniques of construction cost planning developed out of the United Kingdom in the 1950s as the government embarked on a large post-war building program for schools, hospitals and public buildings across the breadth of the country. Quantity surveyors, who all worked for the same organisation, the UK government, using cost information from existing projects, developed a historical cost database in a standardised elemental format which could then be applied at the early and latter stages of design and planning of new buildings. Comparative benchmarks costs were derived for each type of building and individual building elements such as walls, windows and roofs, with location adjustment factors that reflected the different costs to build in different areas of the country. Importantly, the quantity surveying profession, in consultation with architects and engineers, agreed on this standardised elemental method which was adopted in Australia, originally via the Public Works Committee, the MPWC, but for several decades now the Australian Institute of Quantity Surveyors have redrafted the rules and protocols of the Australian construction cost planning system in a set of cost management manuals that cost planners can use to provide clear and detailed cost analysis of projects. The principal focus and role of the cost planner is budget setting and the accurate prediction of the capital, that is the initial cost of the building. This kind of work happens very early in a project, in the pre-contract or design stages of building projects, and often prior to tendering or selection of a contractor. In some procurement systems, such as design and construct, with the early involvement of a contractor, the cost planner may function as part of the contractor's team or work more closely with a contractor to provide the necessary cost advice to evaluate different design options and construction methodologies. A subset of the cost planner's role is the evaluation of buildings' operational occupancy, or what is termed life cycle cost, and there are cost planning techniques to do this that you will be introduced in the latter weeks of the course. Something I've learned in my own professional experience as a construction cost planner and quantity surveyor is that successful cost planning, like many jobs, is both a science and an art form. What I mean by this is that there are fundamental techniques that can be learned and mastered as by undertaking this course. That is the science, which is not subjective or based on opinions, but is a set of knowledge, techniques, and key competencies that inform what a cost planner should do. And then there is the art of dealing with clients, architects and engineers in understanding their goals and how they work and communicate to achieve optimal design solutions that match the client's requirements. So that's it for this broad welcome to the course. As with all UniSA online courses, we have worked very hard to make all the activities and assessment highly relevant to the course and your future profession as a construction cost planner or in a cost manager role on projects. And we've tried to be very clear about what you need to do and why and when. Enjoy the course.